Hey everybody, Chris Peters from FloHockey here with another 2024 NHL Draft scouting report, and today we're focusing on Zeev Buium from the University of Denver. Now, what a season it was for Zeev Buium, a highly decorated season. In fact, he won the World Junior Gold Medal and the NCAA National Championship as a member of the Denver Pioneers, and not just a member, but one of the real leading players on that national championship team. Before we get into the scouting report, let's talk a little bit about the numbers, and they were some tremendous numbers from Zeev Buium this season. 42 games he played in for the Denver Pioneers, 11 goals scored, 39 assists, 50 points, 1.19 points per game, and a plus 33. The numbers kind of speak for themselves, but let's add a little bit of context to it as well. He is only the second U19 defenseman in the history of college hockey to eclipse 50 points scored in a single season. That is a remarkable feat in and of itself. But when you also throw in the fact that Denver won the national title, he was a leading player, Team USA won the gold medal at the World Juniors, and even though he wasn't always necessarily their number one choice among defensemen, he was absolutely a significant player, even scored in the gold medal game against Sweden when that game was still in doubt. So Zeev Buium is one of those players that throughout this season has risen up the draft charts steadily and has taken a sharp spike even further at the end of this season. So coming into the year, Zeev Buium probably on the fringe of the first round conversation. He was there. A lot of people had him maybe in the 20s and maybe even the 40s. Well, now Zeev Buium is looking more and more like a potential top 5 prospect for the NHL draft. And how did he do it? Well, he just continued to get better. He did grow a little bit. He got stronger. He's at about 6 feet tall now. Last year for the National Under-18 team, where he won a gold medal at the U18 Worlds, he was a little bit on the smaller slider side. So he got bigger and stronger this season, which does help his projection. On top of that, he had a dominant, productive season. And so Zeev Buium's his primary focus is going to be on the offensive side of the puck. He gets deep into the zone. He makes a lot of plays. He can walk the blue line. He finds shooting lanes. He's got a good shot. He can shoot off the pass. He does all those offensive things well. But I really do think that defensively, he's more than adequate. He gets in the way. He can be disruptive. He's got good feet, so he's able to get out of trouble when he needs to. He's able to get pucks out of the zone. And then he's got this tremendous vision that allows him to find ways out of his zone and to find ways to make sure that those players aren't making plays. So he does a little bit of everything very well. He's about 6 feet, 5'11", still a little bit on the slighter side. He can grow a little bit more. He can get a little bit stronger. He can thicken out a little bit. And that's going to really help him in terms of his defensive capabilities. But when you see what he did against college teams this year, when you see how dominant he was throughout this season, when you consider the fact that he's outscored some of the very best defensemen we've seen come into the NHL, including Cale Makar, including Quinn Hughes, this is an amazing accomplishment for him, and it kind of forces you to really pay attention to how he did it throughout the season. So Zeev Buium, what is he going to be as an NHL player? Well, as an NHL comparable, it's really hard to find one that I felt comfortable with, because I think that there are a little bit of things that he does that other people don't. But the one that I ended up settling on was Shane Gostisbehere. Now, Shane Gostisbehere has kind of had an up and down NHL career. He's been a top 4 defenseman pretty much for most of it, and has been a really good power play guy as well. He's got a good shot. I think in terms of the size, the role that he's going to play, you look at where Shane Gostisbehere was in the peak of his career, that's the trajectory that I think Zeev Buium is on, to be a top 4 defenseman in the NHL, a power play quarterback, a guy that's going to produce a lot of points. I really do think he can be a 60-point defenseman on the regular in the National Hockey League. It's not easy to do, but we're seeing these players more and more, just like Zeev Buium, that fit his profile, that are producing at a high level. We see Quinn Hughes this past season, 91 points. I do think that is kind of the very, if everything goes right for Zeev Buium, maybe that's the top of his ceiling. But I do think that there's a real kind of look at him and say, okay, well, the way that he plays, if he takes this to the next level, Shane Gostisbehere, that's a really nice career that he could put together. Could he be even better than that? I do think he could be. And the way that he's played this year certainly suggests that there's a lot more to come. Another factor in the scouting report for Zeev Buium is that year-over-year progression. He was outstanding for the U.S. National Under-18 team a season ago, but he was markedly better in every facet of the game for Denver. And when you see a player take such a significant jump even though they started from a place of real talent and real excitement and real upside, and see where they've taken it this year, I can only imagine where he goes next from here. So Zeev Buium, one of the top defensemen for the 2024 NHL Draft, very well could be a top 5 pick come this June. We'll have to wait and see how it all goes. Make sure you're following along with FloHockey for many more NHL Draft scouting reports